Ahoy, YouTube! Oh no, what's going on? It's your boy Booda back in the building to make a video on Last Cloudia. I've been wanting to for a minute, just haven't done it until today. We're here to look at ROVER Maddine, Shift Maddine. We can see her on the homepage right there. And man, is she just a fascinating unit. She is literally one of my favorite units to come out in a while, partly because she's physical damage, partly because she's a permanent unit, and partly because she's an ice type attacker, something that I've been needing. A lot of the game has been needing an updated ice attacker, ice physical DPS specifically. The last one we had really was Celios, and while he's still okay, he's still viable, we needed a girl like Maddie to storm into the meta and be what she is. She is just absolutely incredible. I want to take her, show her off, and then maybe look at the builds that I'm rocking. I want to switch up the format for how I do these character showcases because Last Cloudia is a very tailor-specific game, right? You want to tailor your units for whatever situations you're running. And just to show off one build doesn't quite do the job. It doesn't do the unit justice because that build might not be relevant for another 50% of the content that you're looking to clear in the game, or that the unit is capable of helping you in. You just wouldn't know because the showcase doesn't cover those specifics. And while I don't want to go too in depth, I want to showcase the kind of general scenarios and certain situations, what the character looks like in those situations, and what skills you can tweak, what to look out for in order to achieve those certain things with said unit. And ROVER Maddine is a great example of that. She can either be great team support with being viable DPS herself, or you can make her a crazy DPS machine, which is what we're going to be leaning more towards in this showcase. I want to show off what I'm rocking here. We're going to start off by taking her in some multi-wave story stages just to show off this general DPS build I've got going for her. I do have her 80 out of 84 SC because I don't want to go past that 80 SC mark for those who don't have any duplicates or we're able to grind up the free prism that came with her event. If we look at her skills, I gave her a bunch of attack ups just to give her that extra DPS. She comes with those fighting spirits. Proud Force is a skill you will manually have to place on her, which you can acquire very easily nowadays. And you can see everything with a 0 SC does come in her kit. I gave her Pose of Glory, Pose of Honor, which are great skills to have if you're taking on multi-wave, multiple enemy stages. She comes with a bunch of damage multipliers like Sky High 2. Dual wield, of course, if you're going for a DPS build, you want dual wield on your people. Sword high boost, machine boost, and machine high boost, all just giving a total of, what, 57% extra damage on top of that. Quite heavy. Machine high boost and machine boost. You could probably use that for 13 SC on different damage multipliers, if physical damage multipliers, if you were getting crafty with status ailments and whatnot. But to make it simple, I use these skills a lot, and they usually get the job done. I did give her skill charge 2. We'll see in those multi-wave stages. She comes with Pirate's Feast. I think we already passed that up here. Recovers all SCT at the end of battle, but when you are starting a stage, that first wave, I like to start off with an S2 because it's typically a nice way to start clearing enemies, start proccing Pose of Glory so I can build up a skill charge from the get-go. Sharp Eyes, of course, is another staple of a damage booster for your physical DPS, 50%. At the cost of 3 MP for each attack. Berserker is a skill I love to use now, 30% for continual HP decrease, which is also great for Maddine because she has, not Revenge Heart, but Life Brave somewhere up here. Boom, the lower your remaining HP, the higher your strength will be, so she's constantly dealing more damage as her HP decreases, which in effect will make her crits if you're not already capping heal more, so she's able to sustain herself but just gives Berserker that much more use because the HP decrease isn't too much of a concern, and we're getting 30% extra physical damage. So let's take her into one of these events in the world map multi-wave stages and just see how this general DPS build does. We're going to take her in solo, and I forgot to mention the equipment I'm actually rocking. When I go full DPS, y'all should know I love me my damage cap, right? So everything except Trishula. Or I can't even say that. Trishula is also contributing to damage cap because Maddine gets, what is it, 4,000 extra damage cap when equipping a machine once you get Gunbreaker and Gunbreaker 2 unlocked in her kit. So Covert Gun Trishula is not only making elemental resistances nullified, we've also got that extra 4,000 cap because of it's a machine type. Scarlet Blade, extra 1,500. Hail Sovereign's Rings, another 1,000. And Phantom Tower Keys, another 500. So we've got the crazy damage cap DPS on her. There are definitely alternatives that make her look fantastic. Like Tweaks has talked before. If we scroll down to the Sword of the Lost Souls is great just because of its effect. Physical and special attack damage plus 15%. And basically is a Trishula for any unit's special skill. So that's going to look great if you don't have the Scarlet Blade. In regards to equipment, right, we are rocking the multiplayer ring, which is quite a grind, especially if you didn't take advantage of the first one. And Phantom Tower Key is also something you won't have if you haven't beaten Tower yet. But we've got things like Wings of the Archangel I like to use a lot. SCT speed plus 10%, and after defeating a wave, recover some SCT. So this is just a great way to charge up units SCT. It's the Arc Ether reward from the SSR Archangel Smile. If you were around during her event, the Pirates Battle Flag right here is another wonderful accessory to run, especially for your story clears, your multi-wave stages, because they typically go by quick. And the effect is Battle Start, grant physical attack damage plus 20% to all allies for 10 seconds. That's usually all you need in order to handle these waves. So gives you an extra little 26 to strength and 41 to mind. No resistances in attribute and ailment, but just a great accessory for not only Maddine herself, but as a kind of pseudo support for the rest of the team. And of course, there are other equips that you can definitely sub in just to get extra stat sticks for strength or mind. It's all going to depend on what you have. So the arc I'm running with her, which I think is definitely her best in slot if you're going for DPS Maddine, is Icy Guardian. I've talked about before with the guys, with my co-hosts, that Icy Guardian, they did just fix the description of what this arc actually does, which is awesome. We can read critical physical attacks, inflict plus 40% extra damage. So it does make your crits hit extra hard by plus 40%. But it also adds an extra ice attack. It says ice up attack. They are going to remove the upward, but not only does it increase your crit damage, it adds a pursuit ice attack on top of each crit, which indirectly enhances your damage cap because you're adding an extra hit by a certain percentage. Even if it is resisted, if the enemy resists ice attacks, it's still more damage than there would be if you didn't have this equipped. You also get fire resistance plus 20 and ice resistance plus 20, which Maddine doesn't necessarily need, but it's nice to have. And this combo is going to make Maddine a DPS machine. I know there are enemies in this stage with some pretty tanky defenses, so we'll see how she does, how she survives, and what the result is. So we're going to start off with that S1 like I said, and we can see immediately, we can see crits of 19,499, not 999, 19,499, and a couple white caps also of that amount that I saw in there. But I know those turtles and the ogres, they tend to have some pretty beefy defense stats. You can see our damage is mitigated by them drastically, but it's not too big of a deal. What will be the real test in this wave here, or in this stage, is the final stage with those annoying flinch enemies and the quantity of them running around. They're also very tanky in themselves. I could bring God Slayer to deal with those enemies specifically, but I want to see how this does, right? We're trying to get a gauge at a general DPS build that's pretty easily achievable. I didn't use any skills that are collab specific. It's all going to depend on what arcs you have, but I used very standard staples of DPS skills. And here we go. This is the event, the stage I was talking about. We're just going to throw a bunch of water tornadoes around. We can see that the DPS is mitigated by these guys substantially, which was expected, but we're still dealing a very considerable amount, which I'm very impressed with. Let's go ahead and pop her ultimate just to see it. Very, very, very funny ultimate she has. Her giant boat just comes crashing down, and it's dealing a really great amount of damage. Beautiful. We did lower their ice resistance with that. Brought it down to 60. That's another reason these enemies are so tanky in this stage, is because look at those resistances. If you're not attacking with a light attacker, you're being resisted by everything. We know we have Trishula, so our damage is acting as if all of these were at a 0. So I don't actually know if bringing the ice resistance from 80 to 60 with her special means too much. But we're at halfway health. We're not sustaining as much as I'd like with Proud Force. So we'll see if we can get the job done here. We've got just a couple more enemies to take care of. Your S3 is going to be very nice right there. And I think, oh, can we finish it? We did. We almost died there. Because, like I said, the DPS in that stage, that final wave, they're tanky. They hit pretty hard and they flinch a lot. So I'm actually very impressed with Maddine. But we could see with all of that combination of what we have, she's dealing a 19,499 damage cap innately for a permanent unit. And Maddine of all people, right? So random. It's very, very, very impressive. We got that done with Maddine. This build is going to look wonderful as just your general DPS if you're running story, looking to do clears. Let's go ahead and take a look at a more tailored build to a specific scenario. So I'm actually going to use the current event that's going on right now to show off a more tailored situation for Maddine, and it works great with her because I am actually maining her for this event whenever I run multiplayer stages. Commander of Terror Baron, right? This is going to contribute to me getting some more souls for him, so it's what I'm going to run. And this is a case where we know we're fighting one boss who is a soldier type, and we want to use skills to even boost Maddine's damage to the max in this certain scenario. So if we go no support, we're going to solo the stage. I'm bringing Icy Guardian. Same equips again because I want those max damage caps. But if we look at the skills, I'll show you a couple key differences. I took off attack up 4, put on attack up 1. We still have Proud Force, but special boost I have added along with Soldier Slayer, right? This is the most prime combo that you'll ever use. Long service day. This is your best combination for any time you're going into a battle where you know you're fighting a specific type of enemy. Your Slayer plus your special boost is literally a plus 100% to your physical damage. That is confirmed by Demos, by the guys on the podcast. So just always keep this in mind when you know you're going to take on a specific boss. Do you have that type of Slayer, and do you have special boost available to you? Another skill that I did add to Maddine was a phone booth here. Now this might make some people a little ticked off. It might annoy those who don't have it or are saying, oh, Booda, freaking pay to win. This is a collab specific skill. You can't have this skill unless you were playing during the DMC collab and have pulled the LR arc. You are right, and listen, I hear you. But this is one of those situations I want to show, right? We tailor these units to do specific things and perform a specific way when we're taking on certain events. And I more want to show off what is useful, what type of effects and skills really shine and excel in certain situations. If we do get another skill that performs similar to this in the future on, let's say, a permanent arc, we know that it's going to perform and excel in this specific scenario. One stage, one boss, right? Phone booth is one of the kings. It's at the top of the food chain because it starts the unit off with 30 seconds of SCT. Because we don't get to take advantage of Maddine's Pirate's Feast in this situation Phone Booth is just, and even in multi-wave stages, still one of the best skills that is available to you. For her, I wouldn't be running Phone Booth if this was a multi-wave stage, because even if there was one stage before the boss wave, she would start off with full skill charges because of her skill Pirate's Feast. But in this situation, we're starting off at the first wave and that's it. Phone Booth is extremely useful, so I'm going to use it just to show if you do have it, it can allow your Maddine to solo Baron himself. So here we go. I'm going to show what this guy, what Maddine can do here. We're going to start off with an S2 going into an S3. We can see those damage caps all over the screen right here. And look at Baron's health. This is typically a stage that gives some people trouble, but with Maddine tailored specifically to take down soldier types, she makes quick work of this guy. So there you go. There's a permanent unit soloing a generally difficult boss, especially if you don't burst him down enough. That's the thing, is if you don't burst Baron or any of these bosses currently down quick enough, they can start popping off their ultimates, flinching your units, and giving you a real hard time. But Maddine serves to be one of the best. And the thing is, if you take her into the multiplayer stage, she gives the entire team that 10 seconds of SCT at the start of battle and 2,000 extra physical damage cap. So she's not only serving to be the crazy DPS in this situation, but she can also bring up the rest of the team with her insane ability. She also gives the team fast brave and fast crit. So you got to keep that in mind as well. She is extremely good and viable in short-term battles. For multiplayer, Tweaks and I have talked about it extensively. She is phenomenal. Probably top 5 best multiplayer units to run just because of the team support that she gives and her DPS potential. But for longer stages, I'd say she doesn't shine as much because she does lose her battle start buffs, right? If we take a look at her specifically and read her trait, it starts by saying, battle start, all allies recover 10 seconds of SCT. That is super useful. And receive a buff of strength plus 35%, crit rate plus 20%, and physical damage cap of plus 2,000. The bottom half of those buffs do expire after 40 seconds, right? So in long drawn out battles, I think I want to take her into the Pablo fight. We'll see that she does lose a lot of her damage pretty significantly. So I did it again, everyone. I forgot to teach Maddine Plant Slayer for the Pablo showcase, just like I did with Kyle, right? I came into this ill-equipped. I could have sworn I taught Maddine Plant Slayer already, but sadly I have not. But I do want to show off what the build I was going for looks like. Regardless, you can see I'm at 76 out of 84 SC, so I do have that 8 SC ready for Plant Slayer when I do put it on her. But I took off a lot of attack ups. Why is that? So I could use the SC on some skills that are a little more long lasting, right? Gotta have Proud Force. Now we have Special Boost right above that. Would have been Plant Slayer had I had it. But I did equip Auto Brave because once that 40 seconds of her trait runs out, she loses her strength percent increase. And if by equipping Auto Brave, I do get a permanent strength buff to her throughout the duration of the battle that equals more strength for 7 SC than I would have had if I kept my attack up. So there's the reasoning behind that. Goddess Kiss is another skill I have on her in this case because those long drawn out fights, in order to sustain Sharp Eyes, which you need MP to deal that extra 50% damage. Goddess Kiss is pretty much the partner skill to Sharp Eyes for your physical DPS to sustain some MP recovery. Surprise Attack I decided to use 4 SC on so that if I was able to position Maddine behind a Pablo, I could get that extra 50% increase to damage as well. Dual wield, of course, never goes away. Sword High Boost I kept on. Sharp Eyes Berserker. And that's about it, right? Goddess Kiss and the Slayer plus Special Boost are all heavy SC skills, so those are what take up the majority of things like taking off your attack ups and Auto Brave was the other one. 7SC, still a pretty high cost, but allows her to keep that strength stat throughout the duration of the battle. No changes to the equipment, right, because we're focused on DPS. And then my strategy here, I had also put Spirit Breath on her. I think I forgot to mention. For 4SC, Spirit Breath is a wonderful skill that you want to keep if you've got some glass record spammers. Again, you're talking collab specific things, but those are some of the most valuable skills in the game. So anything that resembles a skill like that, we want to keep our eye out for. We hope that they put something permanent like that in the game in the future at some point. But again, with his glass record spam plus that extra SCT recovery that you get from Spirit Breath would have given Maddie some sustainability in skill charges throughout the duration of this fight. However, we're not going to get to see it. I'm not going to run her without Plant Slayer because it's literally going to cut her damage in half, which I don't want to showcase because that's not the full potential of what she can provide. If you do want to take advantage of her in an event like this, I imagine she'd still be pretty viable. Her damage would go down quite considerably once you lose that 2,000 damage cap from her trait, but I wanted to see how she would hold up and hold her own in a long stage like that, long drawn out end game stage like that. I think she would have struggled in the tanking department. We would have relied on heals from Gen's glass record, but I was gonna leave out Spirit Maiden Tyria and see if we could survive. Of course, I could place things like Flame Wall and other magic damage reduction skills on Gen in order to use. It goes without saying, that is the build I would have ran if I were to take on that stage. Maybe I'll come back with a short clip video showing off what she does look like facing Pablo with Plant Slayer once I get it on her, but I didn't want to just stop the video. There's no way I can get Plant Slayer on her quickly. I do want to get this video up and showcase her strengths, right? Her strength, where she shines, is in multi-wave, multiple enemy stages. She looks incredible, and short, quick battles like we saw her fight Baron, who is typically a nuisance to deal with. She makes quick work, mops him up very nicely, right? Like she's cleaning up the deck on her ship. Maddine is just fantastic. One of my favorite characters. I'm so happy to have her. And if you pulled her and thought, oh man, I was going for a DOH limited unit, well, guess what? You probably got a unit who may outperform that specific unit in this case. Although Baron and Rabala are complete beasts on their own, they're definitely up there. Maddine is still holding her own and shining amongst the top units that are available in the game now. So I hope this inspired you to either build out your Maddine or continue building her out. It showed the potential of what she can do, and I'm sure there are other things that I maybe didn't know or didn't think about while filming this. So let me know if you've done certain testing with your Maddine, if she excels in other areas that I didn't mention in the comments. I want to hear everyone's feedback on this girl because she is meeting all of the expectations I had for her when she first came out. And I wanted to show her some love. I put a lot of investment into her, and I am not disappointed at all. Guys, I think that's all I got for you this time. I haven't said it in a while. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and join the Discord if you want to keep up with me and the rest of the Booda gang offline. I'm on there pretty much 24/7, except when I'm dealing with some IRL stuff, but we've got a real fantastic community. If you're new and you have questions that I can't get to on the comments of the video, we've got wonderful moderators, or I usually do respond much quicker on Discord. So go ahead, click that link in the description below to join the Booda gang. We can talk about LC or whatever other games/gacha games you are playing at the moment. Just wanted to throw that plug in there. With that being said, y'all know what we say. Work hard, play harder. See you in the next video.